Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. My name is Jeffrey Davis, and thank you very much. Keep telling your friends to find us online. We're getting close to 1 million people listening or seeing the show over the last 6 years. We're pretty excited about that. Let's get those numbers climbing. I never thought we would have gotten here thanks to the whole team. Our next guest, someone I've known for a very long time, never had him on the show, Bruce Levine, President Levine, Caufield, Martin, and Goldberg. Wow.
Whew. Nice to be here.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So tell everybody about the firm. What does it do?
We're a full-service public accounting firm. I've been doing this 42 years. The firm has been around 8 years. It basically was a spin-off from a prior firm. I just took my managers, and we all went out and set up our own operation and deal with a wide variety of clients, largely in the medical area. Medical and real estate are probably our two biggest areas, but we touch pretty much every industry.
You know, I would say we're a similar generation. Why at that point of your life would you start over again with a new firm? You had a firm. I mean, it's quite an entrepreneurial move, and it is an entrepreneurial show.
I made a very bad mistake about 20 years ago in that I brought in another firm to join us. And just very bad people. And after 14 years, I always tell my employees, when you hate coming to work, stop doing it. And I got to the point where I hated going to work.
I agree with you 100%. I think some of that does come with age. I don't know if you agree with that, because there's been a point in my career where if I have clients I don't really like or not nice people or accounts that I work on, I say, you know what, I'm not going to work on it.
Right. Life's too short to deal with people who don't appreciate you.
Right. You got to work with the right people.
Right.
And earlier in my career, it was more about showing that I could do the work, no matter who it was.
Right. As you're building a practice of any kind, you take whatever you can get because you want to build the volume. But as you start to get a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, you start to weed out those who just don't fit what you want to do.
Right. Now, I meet a lot of boutique, if you don't mind me calling it, boutique accounting firms, but saying that you're in the medical area, real estate I hear a lot, but medical, how did you get into that area? Because that is a very specialized area.
Sort of by accident. Long ago when I started with a sole practitioner, I joined his practice. And the reason I joined him is he was leaving practice to go work for a medical company. He owned a nursing home, and in the basement of his nursing home, a couple of doctors started doing kidney dialysis. And from that, they grew a company that turned out to be worth about $6 billion. And when they went off to set this operation up, they invited him to be their CFO. And he didn't want to give up his accounting practice because he was afraid that someday they'd fire him, and then what would he do? So he hired me to come in and run the accounting practice while he went off and did what he was going to do. And when I got there, the firm was about $60,000 a year in revenues. And I started working it, and 10 years later, when they let him go, we were over $600,000 in revenue. He came back to the practice, and nobody wanted to talk to him. They all wanted to talk to me. So we ended up going our separate ways, but I took all my clients with me. I actually ended up with a client who was the head of orientation at Harvard Medical School. So as all the residents came in for their training, one of the things they got in their package was my business card. So I worked with hundreds of residents for a number of years, and then they all became practicing physicians, and I ended up working with them.
That's, I once read an article from the Harvard Business Review that was similar to you before, talking before the internet, describing the original social marketing. And that's what you did. You were doing the original social marketing. You got into the right network.
That's right. Just pure luck. I knew the right people and worked out well.
I mean, in that article I read, it was Bill Gates' mother was on a board of advisors with the head of IBM, and she made a connection for her son. Social, meeting the right people at the right time and then doing the right work.
You have to do the right thing by them, yes.
Right. It builds credibility. That's the whole concept behind thought leadership, right? You do the right work for the right people, it leads to more work.
Right. And you do good work for them, and they tell everybody.
Right. Well, the field of accounting, you've been in your new firm for 8 years. The field of accounting is changing dramatically. How are you dealing with that?
You really just sort of have to go with the flow. They issue new rules and regulations all the time. We've had a recent tax law change that we could spend a couple of hours talking about how bad it was. But you just have to learn what's changing and adapt to it. Train your people and make sure everybody understands it and work with it.
Right. You're using a lot more technology, I assume, too.
Yeah, technology has become a bigger part of it. There's a lot more software that we have to learn, and a lot of tools out there.
Or less need for, let's say, junior accountants than it used to be?
No, there's always a need. I mean, the work has to get done, and hopefully the junior accountants do a lot of the grunt work that still has to get done. The harder part is finding more experienced accountants because they just don't exist.
Right.
They leave the field, they go into other fields, try to make better money. There's really a dearth of accountants at the 3 to 7 year level. The major firms go and they hire the entire class at Bentley, and they take them all in, and they grind them up and spit them out. They have them work 80, 90 hours a week, and by the end of the couple of years, they don't want to do accounting anymore, and they go find something else to do.
You go into financial planning.
Yeah.
Right.
Financial planning, financial services. They go to work for Merrill Lynch,
Right.
whatever it may be. But they get out of accounting. One fellow that I went to school with got out of it, and he runs whitewater rafting.
Wow.
He went from accounting to whitewater rafting.
If I were to go back myself to business school and I were to do what was best for me, I would have taken more accounting courses. But I remember earlier in my education thinking, oh, my God, these courses are a grind.
They are.
It's a grind. It's not like other business courses.
No, but you learn. If you go there, you learn a lot. You learn about how to look at things, analyze things. And as I tell these kids as they come out of school and start with us, whatever they taught you in school, it's good basics, but you really didn't learn anything. And, you're going to learn by doing. And it's amazing what happens. I mean, because we're a smaller firm, they get really involved. They get to see a lot. They get to do a lot. And they learn how to deal with business. They learn how to deal with people.
I don't believe you can be in business unless you really know the numbers. I mean, you can grow the top line, but then you could destroy it if you could only know how to grow the top line. You got to know how to manage numbers.
And you have to understand how the numbers came to be.
Right. I talk to my clients all the time. I'm like, you don't have to do spreadsheets, but you've got to know your numbers when your eyes open up in the morning without seeing stuff. You just it's got to go through your mind all the time. You got to know where you stand.
We have people do a lot of very basic write-up type accounting. I like them to go and work with the bookkeepers and see what the bookkeepers are doing so they understand what the bookkeepers are doing, because that's where the numbers are coming from. And, I'd say unfortunately, through the course of my career, we've discovered numerous situations where the bookkeepers or the CFOs are stealing like crazy.
I've seen it a lot, too.
Taking big dollars. And it's unfortunate. It's too bad. It's bad for the company. It's bad for the people. Usually we've been able to send these people away, so that's bad for them. But you learn a lot by getting in there and dealing with the detail, seeing the numbers, seeing what's going on.
Well, based upon what we said off the mic, you're my kind of guy. I like to know truth in numbers, truth in reporting. My dad used to say, if you can't make money honestly, you don't deserve to make it.
I agree with that.
Yeah, you got to work harder, be smarter, be lucky maybe, but don't play games.
Luck has a lot to do with it.
But luck does have a lot to do with it. People always like to compliment me. I just say, well, I think I was lucky. I mean, definitely born in the right time, right place.
Right.
There's no
you have
doubt
to be
about
in
it.
the right place at the right time.
Definitely. Bruce, these are shorter interviews, but, great having you come in. Your obsession with doing things, the right way, the way you want to do it. If someone was looking for you at Levine, Caufield, Martin, and Goldberg, that's a mouthful.
I know.
Why don't we call it LCMG?
Right.
LCMG. How would they find you?
We're in Needham. We're on the web at lcmg.com. We're in the process of moving. We were up on the hill there next to the Sheraton Hotel, but we're moving down to First Avenue next week. But we're we're easy to find. I mean, I can give you the phone number if you want.
Sure. Everybody over 50
Sure.
gives their number.
781-400-1625.
Well, thanks for being on the show, Bruce. We hope you come back again. And
Happy to do it.
It's great to have you here. And I will say, if I can at the end of this, I remember when I first joined the Jewish National Fund over 20 years ago, when I was doing work for the Jewish National Fund. You used to volunteer your board meeting, your board.
The office,
I mean,
yeah.
your office for our board meetings.
Right.
In the early years, and that was very kind of you.
I'm happy to do it.
I remember I'd
and
go
I
in
didn't
and it
have
was
to
on the
travel
left.
downtown.
Yeah, it's always better. I used to use my office as well. Again, my name is Jeffrey Davis. This is Radio Entrepreneurs. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages. You know, part of my